Hey guys, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and today we're going to talk about realistic skin. So for that we're going to go over multi-resolution and sculpting in the third and fourth forms. We're going to dig deeper into multi-resolution concept and skin details. So for us to understand more of how you can get that realistic skin texture, we are going to dig into the third and fourth forms of sculpting. What does that mean? Once you have your details, the primary, secondary details, which is usually how your mouth is shaped, how your nose is shaped, the bigger aspects on your face, you're gonna start getting into the folds, into the wrinkles, into the imperfections. All of that is third and fourth forms of sculpting. And for that, you cannot just simply come to sculpting and start doing that, because as you can see, when I start sculpting, let's say that I'm gonna do a wrinkle here, you can see that the mesh isn't necessarily doing what it's supposed to do. It doesn't look realistic. It looks kind of like choppy. The resolution just isn't enough for that. So what we're gonna have to do is create a modifier, which is called the multi-resolution modifier. I'm gonna give you another example where it's gonna be a little clear. Here I'm gonna start sculpting some pores. So let's say that I just want to do one single pore that's going to be very small. I'm going to use the reverse inflate tool for that. So if I come here and start inflating, you're going to see that basically nothing happened to the skin, because the resolution just isn't good enough to show it. So in order to show those details, we're going to add the multi-resolution modifier. So we're going to add modifier, generate, and then there's multi-resolution. And here you're on level 0. So you want to go into like 4th, 5th levels to get into those details. So what we're going to do is we're going to subdivide. We're going to subdivide. It's on 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So when you go to 5, here you can see the details. My computer is taking a minute to get to 5. There you go. So when you get to 5, here you're gonna be able to see the details. I'm gonna sculpt some pores, and I'm gonna teach you guys in a second how to do that. But here it is. You can start seeing some pores. I'll put on a strength where you guys can actually see. But here you can see the pores sculpted. Okay, so how did I just do that? So that's what we're gonna talk about right now. But first and foremost, for you guys to understand the third and fourth forms of sculpting a face. For example, if I want to create a line here, the smile line on my character, I can use the crease tool, and then I'm just gonna make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm just gonna, on strength, I'm gonna increase the strength. Let's say that I'm doing strength 0.5. I'm gonna come here. And as you can see, this line is a lot more defined, but this is just too big. So I would do Control Z. I would decrease the size, decrease the strength, and then I will do a base for that wrinkle. And you can see right here on this other view. Let me change also the color. So I come on the viewport shading. I'm gonna choose which kind of shading I want with the arrow down. I'm gonna come to matte cap, and I can click this little ball and choose different textures. And here you can see a little bit better. That's light crease that I did here, a light smile line. It actually usually comes from like the top. And then let's say that I want to get more detailed line. I'm just gonna make it smaller and crispier. And there you go. So you can also use the inflate tool here to kind of give volume to your cheek. And then I usually, as you can see, it starts to give like some volume here. And at first it's gonna look weird, that's totally fine. You first wanna create the volume and then you wanna refine later to give that correct shape. So after you give volume, you come and crease a little bit more, and then you start doing smoothing the surface. Here I'm smoothing all of this, and then smoothing the crease. It's important for you to take your time when you're doing these kind of details to smooth things separately, because if you just smooth it all together, you're undoing the work you just did. So you want to smooth each part, each volume on its own. So it creates a smooth volume, but with like separate volumetry. And now that I have this volume here, I would start working on imperfections. Probably even come to my fourth level right here, and just do a little smoothing like that, and you can see a lot more of a natural smile line. So this is how you start creating those details, which is more of the third form of sculpting. And then let's say that I want to do some like skin. Let's understand how we can do the skin texture now. So I would go to my draw tool. I'll click the draw tool, and then I'll choose a texture for my draw tool. The texture is going to determine that the pores. So if you have purchased the texture from me, this is one of the brushes that you're gonna get, which is the realistic skin brush that I sell on my Patreon. So let's say that you have here on your textures, you're going to attach a file, a photo of a skin texture, right? So for that, once you have created a new texture, right here under texture, you're going to create a new texture. And then you're going to go to the tab texture. You're going to open an image, and then you're going to go to your browse your files. I know that the way that I'm doing the screen recording right now, it doesn't show you what I am looking into, the folders that I am looking into, and that's an error from the software that I'm using. But just so you guys know, once I click open here, I can browse what file, what image I want to open. So you guys go to your folder and you choose whatever texture. Mine, on my case, I'm using my brushes that I'm selling. I'm gonna choose the one that's called skin pores. Okay, I open skin pores, and now it's showing me here under the textures. And as you guys can see, this is it. How am I gonna apply that? The best way for me to apply pores is when the brush stroke is set to anchored. So you're gonna go stroke, under stroke method, you're gonna choose anchored. While you do that, it's important for you to your texture, the mapping, to be set to view plane, because the other ones are gonna give you errors. So set your texture mapping to view plane. And what does all of that mean? Anchored brush means that you're not brushing like a regular brush, like you're not airbrushing like a regular brush. You're actually gonna use your brush like an anchor. So you're gonna click, and then once you click, you can make it bigger and rotate it however you want. And the reason why that's the best method for skin pores is because you don't want an uniform skin pore. Each skin pore you want to have in a different angle and on a different size, because that's how our skin behaves. So I'm gonna go to negative here, because those are supposed to be a negative value, creating holes and not creating bumps. So we're gonna create those pores. And then as you can see here, as I'm holding the mouse button down, I can choose the rotation and the size of those pores. And the same thing goes, now let me choose another texture. Now I'm creating a new texture. I'm gonna do it with a different brush. Always keep in mind, for each brush, that strength is gonna change. You might wanna use on a positive value, you might wanna use on a negative value. It all depends on what you're trying to do with the skin. And all of them are valid, all of them work, but for each case is going to be different. So it's up to you to play around with the value of the strength and whether it's a positive or negative value to really give that texture that you're looking for. That's an artistic process. It's probably one of the most fun to play with. And now I'm gonna choose another one. Let's do the scar. So this scar, I'm gonna do a positive value because I want this scar looking like a bump on their face. And then anchor method also works. So as you can see, I'm holding it down and then I'm just dragging it back. And you can already see the scar. You can see on both views this very like well-defined scar. You can make it smaller, you can do more than one to kind of like really create that texturized scar. And there you go, I have created a scar. And since we're talking about third and fourth forms, let's talk about veins too. Veins and bones. So one thing that we'll create in the third and fourth forms is refining this notion of bones and veins on your character. And for bones, I like to just use the inflate tool on a positive value or negative value and just create the volume. So we're gonna create like this cheek bone right here. And literally that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna create this sphere. And then I'm gonna, under that sphere, actually let me drag it a little. Let me create these like multiple spheres, and then under it I'm gonna create a negative value. So as you can see here, I created a negative value on the cheek, and above the cheek a positive value. And now I'm just gonna smooth all of it. I'm just gonna smooth it all. And as you can see now, you have comparing those two sides, you can see that you have a way more realistic and human-like cheek structure, because obviously, like, let's not say that everybody has this like bony and like defined face. Some people are gonna have it a lot smoother, but even then, you still have this feeling of like having a bone there, you know, having like meat. So those things are very, having like muscle. Those things are very important for you to be aware of. And then the more smoothing the surface, the more natural it looks. But as you can see, it's a subtle, now it's almost like a subtle detail, but that increases the realism. A lot of the realism that you're gonna get from your characters is not even on the pores, it's just from like making it feel like there's bone there, like there's muscle there, like there's a vein there, you know, even if it's subtle, but our eyes can perceive that. And now with the veins, I'm also gonna do an inflate tool on a positive value. And then some people you can see it, most of people you cannot. We have those veins that come right on the middle of our forehead, so that's what I'm gonna do here. And it looks kind of like a Y, kind of like this. And then you can create, I'm not sure if this is like animatically like right, but you can create like some irregularities, some other like smaller veins coming from it. And what I'm gonna do here is, veins don't look that straight, so we're gonna create more bumps. We're gonna create bumps on this intersection. We're gonna create like irregularities so it doesn't look perfect. And obviously this is not looking realistic because, again, we have to come with a surface tool, a smooth surface. And strength of 1 is a little too much, so I'm just gonna do a 0.4, and then I'm gonna smooth all of this. And as you can see, it blends a lot better with the skin now. And also what I like to do to create this like very like human-like texture, sometimes you want to smooth on one side more than the other. So it creates a irregular shape even when it comes to like the symmetry of it, right? So one side is smoother than the other. So you create a more of a like a bumpy side, and the other one is a little bit more flat. Same thing here. And now it's just a matter of like playing around with it and just getting it to your like getting it to your likeness. Like that's pretty much it. And then that's how you create veins. In this case, like I would prefer to have something like this. Very, very smooth, but you can still tell that it's there. And then just create some irregularities. Maybe the strength is too much. With the inflate tool. There you go. See? And there you go. That's how you create veins. That's how you create the scar, the pores, wrinkles. Let's see if we can see how that would look rendered. So this is without the multi-resolution, it's still the base form. In order for you to see that, you're gonna come to your tab here on the side, you're gonna come to modifiers. You can pause, because if you try to do while it's rendering and change the modifier, that's gonna lag your computer a lot. So I come to the multi-resolution modifier, and here on the viewport is where you're gonna change from 0 all the way to whatever you want. In my case, I'm gonna do 4. And then I'm gonna play. And as you can see here you get your skin details. Here you get your scar, the wrinkles, the smile line, and here you have your vein. The vein is probably the only thing that I'm not satisfied with, but it's not, this exercise is not supposed to get you to where you want it to get. It's just supposed to show you how to start. But this is the process, like the initial process, right? I would probably smooth a lot more like this side and here too, because these veins are looking way too symmetrical, and usually veins are not symmetrical. Now let's, yeah, this is a little bit better. And the other thing that also it looks really off is because we don't have like a full face. So you don't have this the right forehead structure. You don't have the right, like all of these shapes, they look very robotic or like a 3D. So I will show you an example of what it would look like if we had actually worked on it and taken our time. Babe, I need you to reject the call. Okay, so here is an example. As you can see, this is the low mesh, the low resolution mesh. And then I'm gonna click on the character. I'm gonna pause, come to modifiers, and then I'm gonna set the level viewport. There you go. As you can see, even on this one, you can see that there's a lot more irregularity on the veins that it did here. Let's change this lighting. And this would be more of that same method, what a vein would look like. Here we also have the example of a scar, all the wrinkles and everything. And that's it for this video, you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.